If charity had a sound, you wouldn't think this would be it. Nathan Peeler has been producing that sound for almost as long as he can remember.
Music is my life. I've been playing since I was 7 years old. I'll be 37 in September, so 30 years of playing.
But beneath those hammer-ons, pull-offs, and power chords is someone who finds more meaning to music than adrenaline and good vibrations. Nathan's dad saw this passion in music and wanted to support him any way he could.
Load gear when I'd be playing shows, be at the shows with me, just push me to be a better guitar player.
But not all parents can support their child's musical ambitions. That's why Nathan started a GoFundMe for the Make a Riff Foundation for kids that share his joy.
It means the world to me, and that's the feeling I want to have kids have whose parents want to give them something, but they can't, and that's where I want to come in and be like, here, this is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me.
The Make a Riff Foundation will give kids and teens the starting gear that they would need to play the guitar and some lessons to get them rolling. While Nathan credits playing guitar to keeping him happy and staying out of trouble, he hopes kids will get another benefit that only musicians can understand.
It's the greatest feeling in the world to be able to play your music in front of a group of people that want to hear you.
Whether you're a metalhead or something more mellow, Nathan hopes to give you the chance to express yourself. In Moorhead, Clint DeRoze, Valley News Live.
I got a call from work from my wife, and she said, I haven't felt the baby kick in a while. Maybe we should go in.
Jason Pratt and his wife Tandy's worst fears were realized when they went to the doctors and found out that their unborn baby, Mary Alice, had no pulse. Unfortunately for the couple, it was a tragedy that repeated itself time and time again.
We lost Mary Alice in 2008. We had a miscarriage after that, and then we also have another daughter that was stillborn in 2011. Of course, we got mad right away, and we wanted to find answers.
They went across the country, talking to specialist after specialist. Previously, they had a boy who was born with no complications. But to this day, they still don't have a definite answer as to what caused the failed pregnancies.
I think when something like that happens, you have to put your energy into something that makes a difference.
Now, Jason and Tandy run the Mary Alice 5K to help raise money for pregnancy loss research and raise awareness of the issue that has only recently been acceptable to discuss.
You didn't talk about it. If a baby died, you buried it. No one talked about it. But now there's more openness, there's more discussion.
A discussion that Jason and Tandy hope will lead to greater understanding and save lives. In Moorhead, Clint DeRoze, Valley News Live.
And the way they made it sound like everything was going to be good. Everything's perfect. We're going to take care of you. I should have took my time.
Veterans in Minnesota have been the target of questionable loans that take away from their hard-earned benefits.
They're called pension loans or sometimes pension advancements. Valley News Team's Clint DeRoze tells us about one man who found himself stuck in the middle of a particularly nasty financial commitment.
Francis Johnson of Fergus Falls was an artilleryman in the Marines during the Vietnam War, where he became afflicted with depression, PTSD, and medical problems that dog him to this day. Even with his pension, he was having some financial trouble in December of 2015.
I had a couple bills I wanted to pay off, and I'd like to have a little money for Christmas.
So Johnson looked online for a company that would give him a loan that he could work with. He came across Future Income Payments, which offered to loan him $5,000 if he signed a contract online and agreed to pay $334 a month.
So I just briefly looked it over. I was dumb. I didn't read anything. I signed it and closed it out, and they said I would have my money in 7 days. Well, 7 days went by, no money.
The real problem started when he finally, after months of waiting, did get the money.
It hit me like an anvil on the head. 10 years. Yeah, I look at that payment every month, and I kick myself in the rear end for signing that contract.
For his $5,000 loan, he was being forced to pay close to $40,000 over a decade. Because of the struggle for veterans like Johnson, the Minnesota Attorney General is suing Future Income Payments of Delaware and Nevada, accusing them of issuing illegal loans with interest rates as high as 200%. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that Johnson can stop making payments. He has to continue until there's more action in the courts. Johnson's advice for those considering pension loans from any company?
Don't do it. It's a scam.
a message he hopes will save veterans like him from unneeded heartache. In Fergus Falls, Clint DeRoze, Valley News Live.
Johnson adds that even with all the payments that he's doing all right and can take care of himself. Now, for more information on this pension loan company and how you can report suspicious loans, click on this story on our website at valleynewslive.com.
In November of 1941, a woman received a letter from her brother stationed at Pearl Harbor. On December 10th, she responded.
Then the letter comes back, stamped, return to sender, address unknown.
Because on December 7th, her brother, Arthur Neuenschwander, was killed at his battle station when the Japanese attacked Battleship Row. Arthur was the oldest of a big family in the town of Fessenden. He never left home until he joined the Navy for something more.
He left to join the Navy and, as they say, see the world.
His ship, the battleship Oklahoma, took torpedo after torpedo from enemy planes. An officer and close friend describes how Arthur was killed in that chaos as the ship began to turn onto its side.
All this heavy equipment, big shears, welders, coming down and just fell on top of Arthur.
He then joined more than 400 of his shipmates as they sank into the bay. That was all anybody knew about the fate of Arthur, until his nephew and fellow veteran, Ross Johnson, got a phone call out of the blue.
I thought it was a hoax, so I just deleted it. And then another message the next week, I did the same thing. I thought maybe they're after my social security number or checkbook or something.
The Navy had found Arthur's remains in the middle of a mass grave set up after the attack. The journey home took more than 75 years to complete, but it's finally reaching its conclusion. Ross and everyone else in the family is just happy that Arthur can finally be laid to rest on home soil.
We should do everything we can to get Arthur home. And so that's what we're trying to do.
In Fargo, Clint DeRoze, Valley News Live.
Well, I guess I'd just say it's a challenge for both of us.
A dementia diagnosis isn't just a single person's problem. Carolyn Toohey and her husband Don had been married for almost 60 years. As time went on, they noticed the first signs of dementia setting in.
The first thing was probably losing your keys or misplacing things probably, and then trying to do things that he normally did all the time, and he'd get frustrated because he couldn't remember how it was done.
Doctors tell them that Don had been suffering from his disease for more than 12 years at this point. As time went on, they had to give up on more and more of their social lives as his disease progressed.
We just manage.
Their struggles led them to the Memory Cafe at the Dakota Medical Foundation. Right now, it's a small group with just a handful of people, but it provides something that was missing for both those afflicted by dementia and their caretakers.
This gives a place where both the person experiencing dementia and the caretaker can come and just relax together.
Memory cafes originally started in Europe and made their way into the US after gaining popularity. People gather around with coffee and cookies to talk about pretty much anything. Memories of times past or how they conquered challenges shared across the table.
And this is really great.
A little support to help them get through the most trying of times. In Fargo, Clint DeRoze, Valley News Live.